Ondo State governorship election concluded, but calls for bridge building, fence mending, and collective efforts to develop the state continue. Preparing for next year's goals, 2021 budget now under legislative microscope. Also today, Nigeria's former Minister of Finance meets President Buhari as WTO sieve whittles down contestants to only 2 candidates. This is Political Update, NTA's eclectic political ensemble with focus on the nation's political scene. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The winner of the just concluded Ondo State governorship election, All Progressives Congress candidate and governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, and his running mate, Lucky Ayedatiwa, have been given the certificate of return by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
We want to commend the INEC for the successful completion and conduct of this election. It is now time for me to give Almighty God all the time, the glory, the law, and adoration, the God Almighty, the praise for allowing this day. Without him, we won't be here. Yes. Without God, we won't be here. Yes. The Lord went under the waters. What does it really matter? We are putting everything behind us. But God has ensured that we are victorious. Yes. And the victory is not for me alone. The victory is for the people of the state. Yes. And I want to pledge to the people of the state that the trust reposed in us will continue. We will continue to do our best to serve them in the way that they are asking for.
Earlier, the chairman of the All Progressives Congress Caretaker and Extraordinary National Convention Planning Committee, Governor Mai Mala Buni, has encouraged politicians to maintain healthy competition in the quest to serve the people. He made his comment while congratulating our party faithful and on the success of the APC in the Ondo governorship election.
The victory was recorded in Ondo State, but staff of the APC National Secretariat rolled out the drums to celebrate. It is the first breakthrough by the APC Caretaker Committee, having been behind all the pre-election processes that made incumbent Governor Rotimi Akeredolu as the party's candidate and his eventual victory at the just concluded polls. An elated caretaker chairman, Governor Mai Mala Buni, promised to sustain the spirit of teamwork among party faithful and urged the opposition political parties to build on the spirit of sportsmanship.
By so doing, we will make elections in Nigeria healthier and attractive, rather than making elections a do-or-die affair. I therefore enjoin all stakeholders, party members and supporters to promote teamwork in all future endeavors for the party's success.
With the successful conduct of the governorship polls in Ondo, one of the 7 states with off-cycle elections, APC now has 19 states, and political parties will be focusing attention on Anambra and Ekiti, where similar exercise is expected.
Now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, says it is not in a hurry to congratulate the All Progressives Congress on the October 10th governorship election in Ondo State. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Kola Lobudiyan, at a media briefing in Abuja, explained that the outcome of the exercise is yet to be reviewed.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Itayo Jegede, lost last Saturday's governorship election to the incumbent Rotimi Akeredolu of the APC, making it the second time in the last 4 years.
While our party will, in due course, make its official position on the outcome of the Ondo election known.
The Board of Trustees of the PDP also met in a closed-door meeting to strategize on how best to reposition the party. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has welcomed the dissolution of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigeria Police.
Two governorship elections in the past month, new guidelines and some innovation in entrenching a democratic culture in the country. The guidelines were to ensure that a raging pandemic does not spiral out of control, while the innovation is the portal that gives collated results from the polling units. How has INEC, the umpire, fared, and how have the political parties helped in advancing the cause of democratic governance in Nigeria? Prince Sule Eko Sonisami, a politician and governance expert, joins us today on Political Update. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Let's start from the umpire. Two elections, Edo and Ondo, those ones have been concluded. Just like the reporter said, we now shift attention to Anambra and Ekiti states. Your marks for the umpire at this time?
Clearly, just like, on the assumption of power, this our party in government, we were very clear about ensuring a very transparent, free and fair election at all levels. Mr. President he started pushing for direct primary so that we can have equal participation in every part of the country. He now pushed. We are losing election, even in some states that we hold. We lose them to court, we lose them through election, and it has been clearly well accepted by our party because we are progressive, we are interested in the peace and the progress of this country. So we can see we went to Edo, we did very well, we have a very wonderful candidate, we lost. Went to, of course, Ondo, just like I tell you, Akete has done marvelously well when it comes to infrastructure. In fact, if you see what he has done in Akure, it's actually more than what he did in Owo. But you could see how the politics played out. He won very well. It was very tremendous. We expect to see big industrialization within Ondo and more. And this is what we're expected to see just around the southwest. So we're waiting for the next election. INEC did very well. They are already improving the card reader already. They are doing more. We're expecting them to be able to do better in foreign. We'll look to be seeing that success will continue to emanate from this INEC, and of course the country will continue to have a very peaceful and transparent election. So congratulations to Mr. President, of course congratulations to our party, and congratulations to the beneficiaries, which are the Ondo people and Nigerians. So with this we can say congratulations to INEC itself for doing a wonderful job.
Is this the face of Nigerian elections going forward? We have a portal now, you can monitor online. That should to a reasonable extent deepen public confidence in the electoral process. Perhaps we'll begin to see more voters even turning out for elections.
That's clearly telling you, allowing Nigerians to be actively participating in the process. You monitor as it is happening. You monitor it while the process is on to conclusion. And it's only APC that can give you that. We allow
beyond campaigns.
Of course, it's not about beyond campaigns. It is this government makes sure, this party makes sure that the INEC remains independent, and that's why you see we don't go trying to intimidate the opposition during our elections. We go to the issues and we deliver, and that's exactly what's happening all over.
Let's move to perhaps post-election issues now. What would you be expecting, especially from the victors in Edo and Ondo, in terms of fence mending and repositioning their states for even better, dividends of delivery of dividends of democracy?
Okay, let me start from Edo. Clearly, his people voted him to power, so he has no choice but to deliver to the people. The politicking is over. It's time for governance. He has to mend all the fence, sit down with the opposition and every Edo citizen and ensure that you deliver what they need. There is a serious infrastructural deficit within the Benin. Several other governments in the past have done so well. But he needs to sit down and make sure that all those areas that have been crying over this, if you can look at the result of Edo, you could see how our candidate did very well, which tells you that there are a lot of people, majority within his strand that are that he's very popular around. So it's very important for you to work with them, for you to have a successful, because he needs to be successful after his tenure, not during election only. He also needs to be successful in the period of governance. That's very key. And if you go to, of course, Ondo, clearly, he's a gentleman. Akete is a gentleman. We all call him a very In fact, I don't look at him as a lawyer. I look at him as a clear industrialist. He's the only governor in Southwest today that during the pandemic he's busy trying to industrialize every part of that state. You could see he's fighting for ports to be in Ondo. He's fighting for, if you look at, he's not someone, he's looking at the future for that Ondo. So going forward, of course, he has started the mending all the fences. He has gone to people he was having issues with in the party, had peace with them. Even all those others in the other party has met with them. So he's a gentleman, and we expect him to continue to do that. Even invite people from the Jagedes camp, because it is somebody that is very strong in the central. Invite them, let's have a very peaceful Akure. We need a peaceful Nigeria. So after election, we need governance, and the only way we can have a successful governance is when we ensure that every stakeholder within the strata is being invited for us to be able to push, and we can, Ondo will succeed, of course the country will succeed. This is what we expect to see at Fopley going forward in government.
All right, the youths have been in the forefront of one issue or the other in the past few weeks, and the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme, PES, designed to create 774,000 jobs for Nigerian youths, has been launched by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Empowering the youth for a prosperous Nigeria is the ultimate goal of the PES program initiated by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Student Affairs, Nasiru Saidu Adhama. The program, as an entrepreneurship empowerment project, is aimed at addressing the needs of unskilled and less educated Nigerian youth, targeting key areas of activities that are of practical importance and essential to every aspect of the nation's economy. These are in the areas of agriculture, catering services, fashion design, ICT, welding and carpentry, as well as other small businesses and activities associated with the microeconomic sector. President Muhammadu Buhari described the PES program as a cornerstone of his administration's social and economic development strategies, as well as the overall policy thrust of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty in 10 years.
I am satisfied that the Office of the Senior Special Assistant on Youth and Students Affairs is driving the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme program in accordance with the mandates that I have prescribed for the office of the program. I call upon all state governments, ministries, and other government departments and agencies to factor the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme in their programs to assist the youth to realize their potentials in their chosen fields.
The President is particularly pleased that the tools, machines, and equipment showcased at the event are not only fabricated in Nigeria, but most importantly, products of the efforts of the youth entrepreneurs empowered under the first phase of the program, which started in 2016.
The expansion of the Presidential Youth Empowerment Scheme will now be vigorously pursued. More resources will be committed to the achievement of its goals and objectives towards youth empowerment and entrepreneurship development. I call upon local and foreign private sector operators in Nigeria to also contribute their share to the expansion of this program through channeling their corporate social responsibility efforts towards skills acquisition, creation of startups, and other intervention measures.
He said as the nation marks 60th independence anniversary, it is important for Nigerians to realize that a lot of work still needs to be done towards ensuring inclusiveness and creating opportunities for all. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Student Affairs, Nasiru Adhama, had told the President that the PES program will continue to provide innovative solutions to the growing menace of youth unemployment in the country.
I would like to assure Mr. President that all allocation given to PES program will be handled with sincerity, transparency, and accountability. The youth of this country are hardworking, sincere, and dedicated to making our country great through application of their energies and talents towards creating avenues for job creation and poverty alleviation in their respective communities.
Mr. Adhama assured the president that as achieved in the pilot phase of the program, the selection of the 774,000 beneficiaries in the full-scale PS scheme would be done with utmost transparency and credibility. He said equal opportunities will also be observed in the delivery of equipment, tools and machines to all states and local government areas of the country.
Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has granted audience to former Minister of Finance, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The president says Nigeria will not only explore every opportunity but deploy its energy towards ensuring that Dr. Iweala becomes the next Director General of the World Trade Organization.
Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala is one of the two remaining candidates contesting for the top position of the multilateral institution, the World Trade Organization. She is here to express formal appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari and indeed Nigeria for supporting her staunchly. For President Buhari, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala deserved every support to get the top job because of her profile and diligence in serving the country and the world, while assuring her that Nigeria will do all that it can towards ensuring that she emerges the Director General of the World Trade Organization. The president said more phone calls will be made and letters sent to some world leaders for more support. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, a renowned development economist, had told the president that she feels very proud of Nigeria. She said with the presidential endorsement and support, the Chief of Staff to the President, as well as Ministers of Foreign Affairs and that of Industry, Trade and Investment, have been working round the clock to ensure that she succeeds. The former Minister of Finance also appreciated ECOWAS leaders for their endorsement, mentioning in particular the outstanding contributions of President Muhammadu Isufu of Niger, as well as President Alassane Ouattara of Cote d'Ivoire. She asked President Buhari to make one final push within the week to beat the Koreans and bring the position to Nigeria. As the former managing director of the World Bank puts it, Mr. President, put a smile on my face.
Okay, two issues. We start first from PS. Okay. It's been, a year that not many people were able to, push on further in terms of trade linkages and all that. And now the youth, as a large chunk of Nigeria's demographics, is perhaps taking the attention of the administration.
You see, clearly, look at the PS program entirely. It's actually exposing the talent that has been left unharnessed around the country, which is a vulnerable group, just like you said, the youth. And most of them have graduated from colleges. They are very talented in what they do. With what you are saying, beside the PS and, of course, correlated to the 774,000 employment that is supposed to be done to 774 local government around the country, is exposing to the entire Nigerians what this government really aspires for the youth of this country.
On the other aspect, the second story, Dr. Iweala, just a final push.
She is a wonderful woman. She has done very well for country and, of course, the world. And with her exceptional transparency in her leadership, you could see when she was the managing director of the World Bank, what she was able to accomplish. We'll be very proud to see Mrs. Iweala, of course, emerge as WTO DG. And clearly, Nigeria will be, just like we succeeded with additional, Nigeria and Africa will be very proud to have her as a DG WTO, and that will be good for Nigeria, Africa, and of course the world.
All right, finally, last week, President Muhammadu Buhari presented the proposed 2021 budget of 13 trillion naira to the National Assembly. Now let's hear from the lawmakers themselves.
Posed by the coronavirus pandemic, many said had slowed down the implementation of the 2020 budget, but expressed the hope that the projections in the 2021 budget will make a difference.
For the first time, I'm hearing the president of the country say we are going to fix interest for small-scale industries. What does that imply? It means that the socio-economic activities and the economic small-scale industry will be encouraged.
We need to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. And for us to do that, infrastructure is key. Power is uppermost. And I thank God that He has placed power as a priority.
If we have electricity, a lot of things are going to work. Employment, you will be able to solve the issue of employment, because there are people in the villages who want to have cottage industries. They are unable to do so because they have no access to electricity.
The lawmakers are optimistic about meeting the deadline of passing the budget before the end of 2020.
When we are determined to go back to the cycle of January-December cycle, we worked assiduously day and night to ensure that that budget was passed at recorded time. This time around, we're even more prepared.
Firstly, we need to look into the performance of the last budget, and we are now going to consider the proposal of the Mr. President. Then, wherever we think is okay, we leave it the way it is, and wherever we think there's need for little adjustment, that is the purpose of the National Assembly there. We'll come together and put it there and then represent it back to the National Assembly for approval.
I believe you have heard Mr. President urging the National Assembly in their oversight functions during the process of budget defense not only to scrutinize the expenditure part of the budget, but to look at the revenue side as well.
The 2021 budget proposal is tagged Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience.
Budget of Economic Recovery and Resilience. This year was interrupted, of course. We got the January to December cycle, but interrupted greatly by the pandemic in killing mood. But what are your, thoughts on this one?
Why you even have to applaud this president on the issue of budget performances? If you look at the KPI itself and the budget performance for this year, is almost 68%. And remember, there was interruption in the international crude oil market, which is our major revenue. There was, it goes as low as 40-something, even before the pandemic. When the pandemic sets in, it affected the revenue of the entire world. There was even a restriction by the OPEC over even your production line, where you can actually, but this government, because of exceptional transparency, it made sure that the less than $30 a barrel was able, there was transparency there. They ensure that the line, when it comes to public service, from salaries to other, they maintain it for the entire period. And I can also tell you that we are one of the advocates of saying not just a 12-month cycle of a budget, with relevance, of course, to MTEF, 36 months. Because if you look at 2020 budget, Mr. President, upon all this pandemic, ensure that backlog of projects that were started in 2019 were carried over. It was rollover for the 2020 budget. And that's why you see successes. Because in 2019, some releases might not be up to maybe 40-50%, but successfully, when they are rolled over to the prevailing year and the revenues are releases, all this infrastructure went on. And that is an applaud to this particular government, and we hope it continues in 2021 when we shall succeed, when we have a 36-month cycle of budget, God's willing.
That has been the size of Political Update today. Many thanks to our guest, Prince Sule Kosane-Sami, for his submissions today. And of course, we also have to sympathize with you on Kirby. You've been there, and of course, the pictures are quite worrying. That has been Political Update for today. We'll be back on Friday for another fresh package. My name is Fisai Ogunfe. Thanking you for staying tuned. All the best. Enjoy the rest of your week, and stay locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Bye-bye now.